Hello everybody, we are here with your Bastet jungle guide. Bastet right now, widely kind of shunned upon in the community, but I actually think she's better than most people give her credit for. She's certainly not like top 3 or anything, but she is a viable jungler right now at all levels of gameplay. So we're going to be starting off with an Assassin's Blessing, getting our tier 1 mace, our health potion, Hand of the Gods, and a bees. Now on Bastet, you can get the blink first, but depending on the team that you're against, you want to make sure you're looking at it. We're against a Ymir and an Awilix, 2 very high CC characters, particularly for us on Bastet. The Awilix is going to be a problem, so I'm going to make sure to get that beads first, so nothing comes in between me and my farm. If they didn't have quite as much CC, you can definitely get that blink as you standardly do in the jungle. For our first ability, and the ability that we're going to max out first, that is Razor Whip. This is our bleeding ability. It's going to do damage over time to the target, everybody inside that cone. This is actually an ability that doesn't entirely get countered by Aegis. So a lot of times you'll see people try to Aegis this ability, and you could Aegis some of its damage, but the bleed lasts for 4 seconds, and Aegis lasts for about 1.5 seconds. So if you screw up on an Aegis, you can actually like Aegis 1 whole tick of damage and still get hit by 3 if you screw it up and time it wrong. So there's not a great counter to Bastet's bleed other than just like don't be in death range, you know? And that's going to be interesting as we move farther on. For our second ability, we're going to grab Pounce. This is going to be our main movement ability and the ability that you really have to use to its maximum potential in order to make Bastet work. You have to utilize Bastet 1 a lot like the way that you play Chalk. How on Chalk you're going to throw out his 1 and his 2 and you're going to be kind of tricky with it. You need to do the same thing with Bastet jump. Sometimes you're going to jump and you're actually going to run that way. Sometimes you're going to jump and you're going to jump back. You have to make sure that you're mixing it up and kind of doing both. Unfortunately, I wanted to gank left lane, but it doesn't look like my team wants to move up too far. I still want to gank this. I'm looking for this Danza. I'm going to root him. I'm going to jump on in, and we should be able to grab this first blood, no problem. I'm going to keep this aggression on Ymir. I don't know if we're going to be able to kill him, but I can root him in 1 second. I'm going to try to root him and then body block him, get in the way of him in the tower. We are going to be able to grab that kill. Just enough damage coming out from the team. So Bastet's early ganks, you can start ganking as soon as you get level 3. You really need to do, you really need all 3 of your abilities in order to make the gank work. Your 1 is your initiation, your 3 is your CC, and of course your bleed is your damage potential. So without all 3, you're really not looking to grab any kills. Bastet's ultimate is a stim. So a lot of characters' ultimates are just going to be like some sort of big whammy kablammy. Not on Bastet. Her ultimate actually augments her other abilities. So the way that her ultimate works is it gives you extra damage on the rest of your abilities. So you're going to see this damage % scaling. And it also unlocks a special thing on top of each ability. So if Guardian's Bast is active, you'll see on every single ability it has a modification. So on your 1, you have an extra large leap when your ultimate is active on top of the bonus damage. So you have an easier time hitting it, easier time getting more people inside of it. On your 2, if it's active, her Guardians also swipe at the enemies. This is basically just like, hey, you want damage on your damage on your damage? And then on your 3, if you have your ultimate active, instead of 1 cat, it will be 3 cats that are summoned. And so that ultimate duration is 12 seconds. That does not increase with increased ranks in your ulti. The only thing that actually increases on your ultimate is that % base damage. Now that % increase in damage is awesome, and so we do want to rank up our ultimate. but it's not going to increase the duration or reduce the cooldown or anything. So for our level order on Bastet, it's 2 first, our ulti whenever we can, then we do our 3 and our 1. The reason why we get the 3 before the 1 ranked up is our 1 still is our movement speed, our movement ability. So if we try to use, I'm gonna use my ulti right here. I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna hit this guy with a little 2 and a 3, and you're gonna see some early game Bastet damage. Bastet's got big, fat early game burst damage with that ulti online, and with the build that we're gonna be running, we're gonna keep it all game long. Back into our abilities. Our ultimate, our 2, then our 3 before our 1, because our 1 is our movement ability. We use it a lot for initiation, so we will be getting damage out of it. But when you rank up that 3, it's gonna rank up not only the root damage that you get from it, but it also increases the cat damage. That is the per auto that you're gonna get from these cats. And you have to keep in mind with your ulti up, it's gonna be times 3. So you're actually getting a lot of value from ranking up that ability. So we go 4, 2, 3, 1 on Bastet right now.
Retreat.
As with any other jungler, farm is your #1 priority above all else. If you see some people getting low, you get an opportunity to go look for some action. I'm looking at the Thoth, gonna hit him with a little root. Saving my dash right now because I actually think I might be able to go in and kill him still. I'm gonna preemptively beads and then jump in here, and I'm gonna try to hit it with a couple of autos, and then I'm gonna jump back. The reason why I preemptively beads right there is I was fairly confident that a Wheelix was gonna ulti me if she had it up, and if she ultied me, even though I had my beads up, I wouldn't have gotten all the way in there to get into position to kill the Thoth. So I wanted to make sure I could guaranteed kill that Thoth right there, even though it cost me my beats. Now, she might not have had her ultimate up, and either way, it's fine. The guarantee is oftentimes worth it. So this team that we're going against doesn't really have any healing. Bastet is actually really good at applying anti-heal, which increases her viability in this meta. So normally in most of your games right now, you're just going to end up going right into that Brawler's Beat Stick, going to get that anti-heal online. But their team has really not got any healing. At most, they're going to have maybe like a Soul Gem on Thoth, plus like Danza Burrow might get, you know, he might have Devo gloves or something. But I'm not super concerned about that, so I'm actually going to go for even more damage right now. I'm going to get a Crusher. If you don't have to get the anti-heal, Crusher is kind of the dream item in this first slot. If you do need the anti-heal, then go ahead and grab that Brawler's Beat Stick. Nothing wrong with the Brawlers on Bastet. There's a good chance that I'm going to buy the item anyway here in a little bit, just not first.
My way.
Out of mana.
Because I do not need it. On Bastet, the theory on your builds is you want really high power and really high penetration. That's all you're going for. So you're not running one of those fancy hybrid builds going around right now. You are going full power, full pen, because you can see the type of damage that I am outputting right now. This is not bad damage whatsoever. When your ultimate is online for those 12 seconds, you are the king of the jungle.
Enemy ultimate down. Gank right lane.
And so in order to make that scale throughout the entire game, what we're going to look to do is get a lot of power and a lot of pen. Cooldown is good. There's nothing wrong with getting cooldown online. We're going to have some cooldown in the build, but I don't think you need like 40% CDR on the Bastet. If you can get closer to like that 20% range, you should be totally dandy. More important is to jump in there while your ulti is up and slapper dapper. Gonna kind of run at this Woojer, see if I can't root him, maybe get some damage off online over here. Probably not going to get any kills, but we are going to be able to poke him out, which is going to give me an opportunity to start walking through their jungle. I see him put down a ward, so I'm immediately going to try to counter it. Looks like we are going to have to run back to get it. Got to be a little careful that the Woojer doesn't knock me up, so I'm going to look towards her. Start running through their jungle. Their red buff is up, so I'm going to try to come take this. I think the Woojer is heading over this way, so I'm going to focus on the big minion. And then I'm gonna run straight down to our red buff. So the items you should be trying to keep in mind on Bastet, all of these maces are gonna be good items for you. Some people like that Jones Wrath with the early CDR. We're definitely going to be getting a Titan's Bane later on. Titan's Bane, a little bit undervalued right now, I would say. Gives you a lot of penetration in this tanky meta. You're going to get the 20% flat pen, but you also gain an additional 20% pen on that first ability cast. So if you're going in on Bastet and you just like bleed somebody right off the bat, and you got 40% pen on that just from one item, that's a lot of bonus damage you're getting on that bleed. Other items that we're keeping in mind are things like Transcendence. Transcendence, a lot of power and cooldown. Erendite, same kind of concept, a lot of power and cooldown. You can see the theme that is going on here. You're going to throw down a ward over at the Pyromancer, and I'm going to look for a quick gank on the Thoth if he moves up. If he doesn't, I'm just going to keep running through their jungle. Looks like Thoth has moved up a little bit. I'm going to pop my ultimate, just kind of waiting for his dash. Now that he has dashed, I'm going to jump in, and we should be able to burst him right on down. Now, a quick tidbit on Bastet's 1. If you're not having to use it for anything other than the damage that you've already done, watch my cooldown on Bastet 1. So I'm going to jump over this wall. The cooldown on the 1 does not start until it either you run out of time to jump back or after you jump back. So if you do a quick jump, sometimes it's beneficial to just do the quick jump back just so you can get that cooldown started and get it up a little bit quicker. So if I was like in the middle of combat, right, and I'm doing a quick jump and I want to fight somebody and they're right on top of me, so I jump on them, I might want to jump back really quick just because I can save 4 seconds basically on that CDR. If I have no intention on actually jumping back for the movement part, then I might just want to get that cooldown going a little bit quicker.
An ally has been slain.
So this game, I'm going to go into a third item, Transcendence. Transcendence is going to give me a bunch of power, a little bit of CDR, but it's also going to let me fat finger my beads, apparently. You can get Transcendence as your first real item. So instead of getting the Crusher where I did, if you want to start with the tier 1 going into the Morningstar, going into Transcendence at the very start of the game, you can. It's going to affect your early game clear a little bit. This only gives you 10 power compared to the tier 1 mace, which gives you 15 power.
Your left tower is under attack.
So your clear will be a little bit affected by it, but you get the advantage is that you get to go into a very early Transcendence as your first item. The only time that I would do that is if you 100% do not need the Brawlers as your first item. So this game would have actually been a good example of an opportunity where you can go that first item Transcendence. Because I did not need the Brawlers right away, there was nothing glaring that I was going to need to start anti-healing ASAP or we just lose. So I could have gotten the first item Transcendence and then gone into like the second item Crusher. For me personally, I find that the early game clear deficit off the 5 power just isn't worth it for me, but to each their own, it's still a viable build path. So now I'm going to grab myself a Transcendent, and then I'm going to get myself going into a Heart Seeker. Heart Seeker is going to give us that passive bonus damage on all of our abilities, plus it's going to start giving us some percentage pen. So our abilities are going to have even more damage on their damage, so we've got some bonus damage from our ultimate on our abilities. Then we've got some bonus damage from our Crusher, and we're going to get bonus damage from our Heart Seeker. We want these abilities to absolutely delete people. Looking for a gank. I got to be kind of careful because I don't actually have any actives up. So I'm just going to look towards this Awelix. I'm going to hit him with a little 1-2 combo. And the second that he starts to turn around so he can't see me jump, I'm going to jump right on in on him. He was way too concerned dealing with all those kitty cats beating down on him that he wasn't going to be able to ulti me at all. I see a little Thoth over here by the red. I'm gonna blink in on this red and go for the bleed. I'm just going straight for the Thoth, and he's gonna burn right on down as well. Jump over this wall and go back to farming. For guys that you do not want to go against on Bastet, a Wheelix is a great example. A Wheelix has the ability to pull you out of your pull either on the way initially or on the way back from your jump. So she can get you on the jump in or the jump out, giving her multiple opportunities to deal with you. Standardly tanky gods, Bastet does not like to deal with. You can see how I'm focusing these squishy characters. I'm mostly just going for the Thoth and like the Wheelix over and over again. That's because tanky characters tend to mitigate a lot of Bastet's damage. Now, in order to deal with that, we are going a lot of percentage pen, which is going to help us, particularly once we get our Titan's Bane online. It won't be as bad. But in general, Bastet likes to go against squishier teams. Hopefully they've got 3 squishies and only 2 tanks. Any more than 3 squishies, and I wouldn't recommend Bastet. She really thrives at like that assassin type role, getting into the back line and trying to one-shot somebody. But if you see a Cthulhu dash right in front of you while your ulti is up, you might be able to do something. I've got a 3-level lead. And I'm giving it all. She's got it, Captain. I got an Athena coming over me. So you can see, even with a massive level lead right there, I wasn't going to be able to kill that Cthulhu. I just wasn't going to be able to do it. Luckily, the Athena and the Erlang rotate on over. But by myself, I was just not going to be capable. Bastet is not super good at killing those tanky targets. Now, they've done the Gold Fury, so we should really quickly get people over here to try to do this Pyromancer. I can't really tank this, but nobody's coming in to tank. There we go. We're going to be able to grab that Pyromancer. Should be noted that Bastet is quite sneakily good at doing the Pyromancer and the Gold Fury. If you have your ultimate up on Bastet,
I will be the one to save this
and you're near the Gold Fury or the Pyro, your kitty cats will tank it for you just like the way that Arachne spiders do. So if you pop your ulti and then your 3, you have 6 auto attacks because each of your cats will tank 2 autos. So you have 6 auto attacks of full tanking on the objective, which will allow you to basically solo the Gold Fury or the Pyromancer. So keep that in mind as you're playing Bastet. If you've got like a sentry ward on it and there's nobody around, nobody expects the objective to just get killed by one person nowadays. So you can really catch people off guard and grab yourself back kill. His Aegis is down. I'm going to go in, use my bleed, and jump right back out. One little trick if you are going to try to solo those objectives is try to get your kitty cats and everybody tanking it right on the edge of the Gold Fury. So if I'm on the edge of this little Gold Fury path, every time it kills one of your cats, it's going to reset the aggro to you. So you just quickly hop back out and make it reset back to one of your other kitty cats. It'll keep resetting to your kitty cats as long as they are in range. That's going to be a quick dead Thoth. I'm going to jump over this Ymir stun. I'm going to try to jump back over the second part of the Ymir ultimate. So I jump his Ymir stun with the first part of my ability, and then I jump his ultimate with the second part of my jump, using it for those immunity frames. When you're in the air on Bastet, you cannot actually be hit by anything other than, of course, you know, the Wheelix ulti. And if there's like bleeds on you and stuff too, like that would happen as well. Well, you're not going to get hit by anything new. Bastet kitties will also tank a tower. So if I throw out a kitty right here, you can see it's going to take 2 shots at the tower. Same kind of concept with your ultimate on Bastet. If I have my ultimate proc, that means I'm getting 3 kitty cats. 3 kitty cats means potentially 6 shots that are tanked. So you can use those kitty cats for towers, for objectives, all sorts of stuff. Doesn't really work as well on the Fire Giant because the Fire Giant will just kill one of those kitty cats really quick. And then even if the other kitty cats are alive, it resets to you, and then you have to run all the way out of the fire giant range. Also, that knock-up will smash those kitty cats. So not nearly as effective on the fire giant as it is on Phoenix's, Towers, Gold Fury, Pyromancer, etc.
Be careful.
All right, we are nearing the endish part of this build, so I'm gonna get the Titan's Bane online next. I've got a little bit of flat pen with my Crusher, got a lot of bonus damage, got a little bit of CDR with the Transcendence. Right now, I think I need a bunch more bonus damage against these tankier characters. This Ymir and Cthulhu are gonna start being problematic for me. And it's going to help me as well against those towers. Reminder that percent pen does work against towers and phoenixes and stuff and all that. So it's going to really make my pushing into those objectives a lot easier. I don't really want to fight these guys. Oh, no. I'm going to pop my beads preemptively. And I'm going to pop my ultimate, try to use it as a runaway tool. But I don't think I'm going to be able to run away from this. I just wanted to kill the creeps so they weren't able to shove the tier 2, but unfortunately the Danzo was right behind me the entire time. Now we're going to be able to grab that full Titan's Bane, and now we've got 30% penetration.
You are strong.
Not including the bonus 20% that we get from Titan's Bane. Keep in mind, this bonus 20% that you get from Titan's Bane does go over capped. So your cap on percent penetration is 40%.
Ultimate is ready.
With a Titan's Bane, assuming you had the full 40% from your items, Titan's Bane on that first ability does overcap, so it would actually be 60% penetration on that item, or on that ability that you used.
Peculiar items. Things just keep getting stranger.
For gods that we like paired up with Bastet, she's a typical assassin, so she's got to be diving into the back line. There's not a whole lot that you can do to help her out. She's not got a lot of setup, right? So she doesn't particularly pair well with the big wombo combo gods. She's more about that big burst damage output, but she doesn't have a whole lot of setup.
On my way.
Doesn't particularly pair well with the Poseidons, Raws of the world. Good pairing actually with Merlin. Between the two of you, you just have a lot of potential free ranged bleed damage. So you can just both output damage on your own. Nobody's really reliant on any setup. So anybody in the mid lane that's not relying on setup like a Marlin, he can set up himself. I can set up myself and we can just worry about our damage. And anybody, of course, that can keep her alive. So I'm going to pop my ultimate. I'm going to blink into the back here, and I'm just going right for a squishy character. Thoth dashes down, but he's probably going to die. I'm going to jump in towards this Ymir. He's going to freeze me. I'm not going to jump back. I want to go straight towards this Cthulhu. And we're going to be able to kill him as well. So with your supports on Bastet, just pairing somebody, because she's got to go pretty deep into the back line. So pairing with her the classics, Gab, Khepri, Emojas, all of those will be able to make do and help out the Bastet. I gotta be very careful and kind of jump out of this. I'm gonna throw in my 3 to try to help secure. I do not want to die to any of this. I'm just gonna throw down my 2 on the Bastet to grab the kill, and we should be able to grab another one on the Ymir. Little fun fact on the Bastet ultimate. It is just long enough to get one of your abilities off twice. Even if you're building a lot of CDR, you're going to be able to get off typically one ability more so than others. So if I had a bunch more CDR, I would have a better chance of using more abilities within my ulti, but I don't. But even with that CDR, you might not be able to get everything off. So what I recommend is using your 3 first. Your 3 is really, really good with the ultimate proct. So I always try to pop my ulti and then immediately go into the 3 if at all possible. Because I find that your 3 is the best ability to use. Twice, it gives you those triple cats. Those triple cats means more auto attack damage on whoever is going against because they're doing damage. It means more body blocks, which is really important, particularly in the later stages of the game. They've got a hunter or two. They're trying to auto attack. Well, those kitties are body blocking everything. And so it just provides a lot more chaos into the battlefield. So if you can start a fight with 6 kitties, with 3 kitties, and then end a fight with 3 kitties, having 6 kitties total during it, that provides just a lot of value for your team. So I would recommend ulting, starting with the 3, then going through your kit, and then trying to use that 3 one more time at the end of your ultimate, just to get those cats out there into the world. Now we've got mid pretty low. We should be shoving up mid and left lane right now. These are the lanes farthest away from Fire Giant. You always want to shove the lanes farthest away from Fire Giant, because if you bring that Phoenix down, then you've got fire creeps in a lane far away from the Fire Giant, and when you have to contest the next fire, somebody's got to go deal with all those minions on the other side of the map, forcing them away from the firefight. Put down that deep ward inside of the enemy base. There's a Cthulhu coming behind us. I'm actually going to ulti for this, because I've got the Titan's Bane, and I've got a lot of damage online. Yeah, see, I don't have to be afraid of him anymore. With all of my percent penetration, I can actually burn down those tanks. Now, I'm going to throw out my kitties one more time. I'm going to have those kitties tanking this Phoenix for us, and they're going to add some extra damage to the Phoenix. Barely got that off one more time before our ultimate ran out, exactly how we were talking about.
Attack left lane.
Now I'm going to head back over to left lane, and I'm going to grab this Phoenix as well. They've still got 3 people left alive. We need to be a little bit careful here. If we're going to target somebody, it needs to be somebody in the back line. I see the Thoth's dash. I'm going to blink and jump in, hit him with the bleed, and then I'm going to jump back to help out my team and immediately start going for the Danza. Throw down my 3 on the Danza. It's going to root him. It's also going to provide me with body blocks. Hopefully, oh my goodness, I'm going to go down, but luckily we got him dead. The Ymir is going to go down, and they should be able to go attack the Titan with the 3 of them. Only Cthulhu is going to be alive.
Be careful.
So for our 6th item this game, we grabbed ourselves the Erendite. Erendite's pretty interesting on Bastet because you gain the increased movement speed from your passive on Bastet, right? So if you can combine a nice increased movement speed on your passive, plus the potential increased movement speed on Erendite, it provides you a lot of ability to chase people down. Not only that, Erendite also does add more damage onto our abilities. So we've got our ultimate adding damage onto our abilities that are already doing damage. Some of our abilities do more damage with our ulti proc on top of that ulti damage. Then we've got a Crusher, then we've got a Heartseeker, then we've got an Erendite. We've got damage on damage on damage on damage on damage, not including any other buffs that we end up with on our character. So it really maximizes the amount of damage that you can do, which is all Bastet does. The reason why I'm saying damage and talking about damage so much is it's really the only thing she provides to the team. She has a root, and that's it for her CC. So she's kind of a selfish, old school assassin playstyle, but you can still do tons of damage with Bastet, and I truly do think that she's actually an underrated jungler in this meta. As we discussed earlier, get the brawlers earlier if you need it. We did not need a brawlers this game because they did not have any healers, but chances are you're going to end up with the brawlers in one of your item slots, and then you're looking at the rest of these guys. And that is our Bastet guide.